live on a Saturday. It's been a while. Yes, I am. Got the fresh cut for tomorrow's departure to Baltimore. It's Monday Night Football. It's the Ravens and Lions, week 3. Primetime football. There's a lot to look forward to. But as you see in the title and headline and thumbnail of this episode, there is something that the Ravens will be bracing themselves for coming up on Monday night, and that is being without Nnamdi Madubuike, their strong presence in the middle part of that defensive front. Nnamdi has not missed a game since the pandemic for COVID protocols during the 2020-21 campaign years ago. He has been extremely durable, and not being with him, or I should say being without him, coming up on Monday night will be a big deal. And there's going to be, you don't just replace that type of player, 92, with one player. It's a by committee type of approach, and the Ravens are going to have to try to do that. And slowing this Detroit offense led by, of course, Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, and their plethora of talented pass catchers all over the field for Dan Campbell's offense. So that and a whole lot more is what I have to discuss on this Saturday. Thank you guys for being with me. If you could like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, consider gift-giving membership on this Saturday, or perhaps becoming a channel member. And I look forward to seeing, hopefully, a lot of you coming up on Monday night. It's the Be More Around Town pregame tailgate located at 801 West Austin Street. I've been partnering up with Brian and his team for the last several years, and while I won't work every single home game due to me being out of the area this year, I am going to be there on Monday night. And right now, if you want to take $5 off your entry fee, you can use code BOBBY5, BOBBY5. Literally, it's just that, BOBBY5. That'll get you $5 off the entry fee into Be More Around Town's pregame tailgate. I will have my live stream, of course, going there, and then I will attend as a spectator the first time on U.S. soil a Ravens game outside of the press box. I went to the London game, and all those years that I was working for Ravens radio stations, I had press box access. I had media access. So I'm looking forward to this. I hope that you guys will consider dropping by the tailgate. I know that PHP on the vault side of things is organizing something in Lot G. I'm sure that'll be a blast as well. So let us know, and let me know if you plan on coming out. John Harbaugh just addressed reporters, had a press conference a short while ago. And, of course, Pat Ricard continues to not be available at practice. He's dealing with that calf. Not a surprise. He'll miss his 3rd consecutive week to begin this year. Nnamdi Madubuike popped up with a neck this week. You might remember, if you go back to last week leading into week 2, in the Browns game, he missed Wednesday. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, maybe it's a vet day for Nnamdi. At this point, he's been around for a while, and he's earned that right, perhaps, to be given vet days at the beginning of the week. Well, it's a lot more than that. And John Harbaugh just shared that he will not play on Monday, as I mentioned off the top. They're looking at some of the symptoms that popped up this week. They're deciding a course of action, as Jeff noted. But Nnamdi Madubuike, as far as Monday is concerned, against the high-flying Detroit Lions with a great rushing attack, will not play. Again, it's not next man up. It's next men up. That's what you have to think of. That's what you have to do. That's reality when trying to replace Nnamdi Madubuike in the interior part of this Zach Orr-led defensive front. As you saw also here, Kyle Van Noy, not a surprise, dealing with a hamstring. He will not play on Monday night. So to be honest with you, and I'll get into a number of notes from this press conference in the next few minutes, but the inactives are looking actually pretty obvious right now. It's going to be Ricard. It's going to be Madubuike. It's going to be Van Noy. It'll likely be Jair Alexander. Probably Keaton Mitchell. I'll get to that in just a bit. And maybe one or two others. I got to run the numbers. But those are some of the obvious ones coming up Monday. So strictly speaking to the Nnamdi loss, it's a big deal. It's an absolute big deal. More notes here from John Harbaugh's press conference. As Jeff, my co-host on The Collective, noted, Harbaugh made clear that the Ravens and Madubuike are still determining the next course of action, but anytime you hear neck injury and further tests, it's obviously concerning. He won't be pretty high on the list of guys the Ravens can least afford to lose long-term, no doubt. And again, he would not commit to whether or not Madubuike is a injured reserve candidate, meaning if he is, it'd be looked at as, at the very least, a 4-week setback. He wouldn't say. Non-committal. So this is something to watch, and this is a big deal if Nnamdi Madubuike can't go. I know that he was quote-unquote quiet last year after that ridiculous productive season in 2023, which resulted in him getting paid and paid handsomely. But you go back and watch the tape and you listen and talk to offensive staffs on the opponent side of things from last year, a lot of teams sold out to be beat by the Ravens. Well, nobody's trying to be beat by the Ravens, but they weren't willing to let Nnamdi Madubuike beat them, meaning you saw a lot of strategizing to take 92 out of the game plan. He was an integral part of the game plan, don't get me wrong, but they didn't want him to be the game wrecker. So you saw a lot of double teams, right? A lot of attention that was focused on Nnamdi Madubuike, and deservedly so. That's the type of presence that he brings to the table. And quite honestly, let's not get it twisted. He's brought that kind of presence so far through 2 weeks. Okay, Carlos Lopez here, a Pats personality in the Twitter space, Patriots that is, tallied up the NFL leaders through 2 weeks in pass rush pressure rate among defensive tackles with a minimum of 60 pass snaps. And who leads the way? None other than Nnamdi Madubuike, 20.3%. And you've got some pretty good company on this list. The Jeffrey Simmons of the world, Dexter Lawrence, Christian Barmore, Milton Williams. It's good. It's good company. And if that's not enough for you, what about what he's done in other departments? Here's the 33rd team statistic. Players with 10-plus pressures through 2 weeks. He finds himself on this list as well, along with Myles Garrett and Hassan Reddick and Will Anderson and Trey Hendrickson, Micah Parsons, right in the fold with 10 pressures for Nnamdi Madubuike through 2 weeks. Okay? 10 pressures and 2 sacks so far. That's what's shown up on the stat sheet. But as Chris Sims told me in Indianapolis when we were talking about Shamar Stewart and his draft stock coming out of Texas A&M, the F the play it up stat is something that Chris was like, hey, just because Shamar didn't have a ton of production in college, particularly his final year at Texas A&M, it doesn't mean that he's not going to go on to have great success and be a disruptor for whatever team picks him. Well, Cincinnati ends up bringing him in. He's off to a good start. But why do I bring up that concept, the F to play it up stat? Because that doesn't tend to be tracked. You won't see that in the box score. And I think 92 can bring a lot of that to this Ravens defense, and does bring a lot of that to this Ravens defense. And now, look, moving forward, again, it is not next man up. It's next men up. Okay? The rest of the Ravens defensive line, I told you through 2 weeks what Nnamdi has. 10 pressures, 2 sacks. Okay? The rest of that defensive line, his peers, 7 pressures, no sacks combined through 2 early weeks. It's been all Nnamdi Madubuike up front. Okay? Now, perhaps big opportunity exists right now for Aeneas Peebles, a.k.a. Fub. Remember Fub? Rookie 6th round pick out of Virginia Tech. We had a chance to have his former college football head coach on, Brent Pry, who unfortunately was just canned by Virginia Tech after a slow start to the season. Coach Pry was literally just let go within the last week or so, I saw. But he came on the vault earlier this offseason and had a lot to say about his guy Fub, who just spent 1 year at Virginia Tech. Prior to that, he was at Duke. The Ravens used the 210th overall selection in April's draft in the 6th round on Aeneas Peebles, 6 feet tall, 289 pounds, originally from Raleigh, North Carolina. And take a look at the list that he popped up on recently. Austin Mock put this together. And he tracked rookie splash play leaders through week 2. And keep this in mind right now. Aeneas has been obviously limited from a snap count standpoint, but he has gotten opportunities, and he's made the most of said opportunities. Rookie splash play leaders through week 2. Aeneas Peebles finds himself 3rd on this list that Austin tallied up. 12.1%. That's the rookie splash play, the rookie splash play number that Aeneas Peebles has cashed in so far through 2 weeks. So, big number 93, once worn by, of course, the great Calais Campbell. Now we're looking at you, Aeneas. Big opportunity for him coming up in front of a primetime audience. You already know this place is going to be humming. M&T Bank is. The Ravens always come to play for primetime football, particularly when it comes to home primetime football. And not only will it be about what Aeneas Peebles can give them, I would suspect that Brent Urban, who's been on the practice squad to start off this year, right, was brought in this summer, late in the summer. I would suspect that he'll be elevated, as Jeff sort of notes here, to serve as, I was going to say depth piece, but shoot, they might ask a lot of him coming up on Monday night. So Jeff is saying, look, he's suggesting here that they could potentially have two injured reserve candidates in Kyle Van Noy and Nnamdi Madubuike. That would be very disappointing because, again, if that is indeed what happens, that they are candidates for IR, that's looking at a 4-week timetable at the very least. So what? We'd be looking at week 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I think that would lead into the bye week, right? Because week 7 is the bye. Yeah, week 7. And so obviously everybody knows what it's a murderer's row beginning of this season. And if you can go in, 6 games going into the bye week 7. So if you can go in 4-2, 5-1 would be incredible. But 4-2, knowing that Detroit, Kansas City, Houston, and the Rams are still on this schedule leading into that really early bye, that to me feels like a total win for the Ravens. And they'll shoot higher, obviously, and go for 5-1 at this point. But that's that. So Pat Ricard has not practiced in about 5.5 weeks, as Jeff notes here. So can't imagine they're planning on him returning anytime soon. And then Jeff goes on to note what we were sort of going back and forth on speculating yesterday in terms of would they use yet another game day activation call up for the undrafted rookie tight end / fullback Zaire Mitchell-Payton. Jeff says, hey, presumably they will use up that third and final standard practice squad elevation. And that's in Pat Ricard's absence. And then maybe that, hey, even if Isaiah Likely can go, maybe they will. To a lot of your points yesterday, I was kind of saying, would they go with Lucas Scott? But no, Zaire can handle fullback duties as well within the confines of Todd Monken's scheme. But if they do indeed use that third standard elevation, that he will be needed, Zaire will be needed to add it to the 53-man roster. So if he factors into their plans, like Jeff notes here on X, moving forward after week 3. Now, maybe they know something we don't. Maybe they have a comfort level with Pat's overall timeline, and he'll be back in a couple weeks. And maybe they feel really good that Isaiah Likely will return on Monday on a pitch count, on a snap count, but that he'll be back in the fold. So they could have a good, I hope they have a good stranglehold on all of this. So that's the current situation right now with the defensive depth that will be tested coming up on Monday night. No KVN. That means it's next men up, and a good opportunity for the rookie and Mike Green, and of course a player that's in a contract year and Odafe Owe to show up, right? Those two guys in complementary ways. And then from an interior standpoint, you already know what you're going to get out of Travis Jones. Dude's an absolute beast. I suspect that we'll see John Jenkins getting some reps as well. But again, Aeneas Peebles, it's time. It's time for you to show what you're about. Brent Urban, I'm sure, will get his opportunity in a rotation of some sort at this point in his career. So, and then, of course, when you get back down to that second level, I think we should continue to expect to see Roquan Smith alongside Teddy Buchanan. Of course, Teddy played 60% of the snaps, I want to say. It was either 60% or 60. Maybe it was 60 defensive snaps at weak side linebacker alongside Roquan in week 2. And I believe Trenton only had 15. So clearly, a rookie in Teddy Buchanan has, at least in the initial going here, beaten out third-year player Trenton Simpson, who not that long ago, right around a year ago, was demoted after a really slow start to the season that forced the Ravens to go to a rotation with Chris Board and Malik Harrison. Have they found their guy in Teddy Buchanan? Listen to the way that Roquan Smith talks about his running mate.
A lot of respect for Teddy, man. The guy, he played 5 years in college, so he's been around ball for a while. Been playing linebacker his entire life, so like he got a lot of experience. Very smart player, man. Don't make a lot of the same mistakes and very advanced for a rookie. So EDC them got themselves a steal with him in the fourth, I think. Yeah, we kick it. Yeah, we definitely kick it a lot. Got a lot of similar things we enjoy doing together. Great guy, very smart, able to understand the game, especially as a rookie, man. Like the way he understands and sees the game as a rookie, way better than what I did as a rookie. So yeah, hats off to him, and I'm excited to keep growing with him and whoever else they have out there with me.
Boy, oh boy, that just glowing remarks, right? Saying that he was far, far above what Roquan was himself as a rookie. Referred to him as a steal. The day 3 pick early on in day 3, 4th round out of Cal was Teddy Buchanan. And look, I'm going to take a little bit of a victory lap here, even though he's just getting going. And he's got to obviously stabilize himself and earn the right to continue to be that weak side starting linebacker alongside Roquan. But everybody was wondering, right, when Sarah and I would do those preseason, summer predictions, visions of what rookies could come in there and immediately make an impact. I'm going to take my lap right now. And not the lap in shame that I had to do yesterday after I botched the Mina Kimes interview. It wasn't botched. I just botched the time. I thought it was on Monday and it was scheduled for yesterday. I would love for you guys to check out that interview, by the way. Shameless plug on the vault. But I've been saying from the jump that I thought Teddy Buchanan had not only the physical ability, not only the experience ability from being a 5-year player at 2 different schools, as Roquan noted there, and playing a lot of college football, including 1 year at Cal, where he idolized that the folks that went to Cal growing up. That was his dream school. And I don't know, there was just something about him when he popped onto the vault earlier this offseason that screamed, man, this dude's well-studied. This dude's got a high football IQ. This dude's a cerebral player. He's built like a specimen. And now he's combining all of that, even though he doesn't have the God-gifted athleticism, right? Sideline to sideline type of freakish nature athleticism than Trenton Simpson does. He's using his intangibles to go ahead and do what he does and perhaps steal a roster spot or at least steal playing time from a 3rd-year player in Trenton Simpson, who the Ravens were really high on coming out of Clemson. Now, he'll continue to contribute in special teams. He will, I'm sure, still continue to get an opportunity. But right now, he has taken a back seat to a first-year player in Teddy Buchanan. I am thrilled for Teddy, a huge fan of his. And while, again, he still has his struggles against the run, I think we saw that at times on Sunday against Cleveland, and he still will have his rookie moments added in there. I don't think it's a coincidence that Roquan Smith may very well have just had his best game as a Raven since showing up at the deadline in 2022 after that blockbuster trade. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think they have stabilized the weak side linebacker position. I think they really like the old school thumper mentality that Teddy Buchanan brings to this defense. And I think he's here to stay. Plus, when Roquan's talking like this, Roquan talking like Roquan again, begs the question, is Roquan back?
Yeah, like you said, one game definitely doesn't define you. And we know we did not play to our standard in that Buffalo game. And we knew that wasn't what we wanted to put out there on film. Played 3 quarters, but didn't finish in the 4th quarter, and just know how much that hurt. But the great thing about it is that, hey, all weaknesses were revealed throughout week 1. You would rather that right then as opposed to later in the year. And I feel like it just added more fuel to our fire, and knowing that we can't let our foot off the pedal at all until there's no life left in our opponent.
That sounds like the Roquan I think we all know and love, and he's got his swagger back, if you will. 15 combined tackles, several tackles for loss. Of course, the 60-plus yard scoop and score after the Tavius Robinson strip sack. Tavius is going to have to come up big, of course, as they are shorthanded coming up on Monday night in Baltimore. I'll be flying out tomorrow. I really look forward to getting back to Baltimore. 8:15 kickoff between the Ravens and Lions coming up on Monday night. And it's all, of course, thanks to Be More Around Town, which will have the pregame experience for you. Hope you guys will join me. It's 801 West Austin Street on the Fed Hill side of M&T Bank Stadium. Before we get into more content, including a number of other things like Keaton Mitchell's status moving forward, Jair Alexander, and a few other things like how Lamar Jackson is keeping Detroit's staff up at night. They said as much. This episode is brought to you by my friends at ProfitX. Guys, ProfitX is America's #1 sports prediction market, and right now, it's where you win real money predicting sports in 40-plus states. All over the country, you can see these highlighted states like Florida, where I'm hanging out for the season, here in St. Petersburg, Texas, of course, Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, for those of you that are in the DMV area. A lot of Northeast states highlighted in as well, New York, New Jersey, so on and so forth. So a lot of different options for those of you that are sort of coming to me globally and aren't in the Maryland area, or you know what I mean, not globally, but countrywide. And at ProfitX, you'll get better odds than traditional sports books because you're playing against others, not the house. With ProfitX, you can request your own odds, play with confidence, and get super fast payouts straight to your bank, card, or even crypto. If you sign up at ProfitX.co today and use promo code BobbyB, that's BOBBYB, as you see on the screen, you'll get up to $200 in profit cash on all your plays for the first 30 days. So go ahead, consider signing up right now at ProfitX.co. And if you type that into your search engine or Google it or wherever you're at on a desktop or mobile device, it'll bring you to this site right here. And you can break things down and choose which league you want to have a little bit of fun with. And for the purpose of this conversation, a bunch of NFL games coming up tomorrow. Raiders at the Commanders. Packers at Cleveland. Oh, good luck to the Browns. That'll be a bloodbath. Bengals are at the Vikings, QB2 versus QB2. Falcons are at the Panthers. Colts at the Titans. Steelers at the Patriots. Should be a win for Pittsburgh. If they don't win that game, there's going to be even more panic in Pittsburgh. The Jets are at the Bucks, right up the road from me. Jake Asman's here, by the way. I'm going to be going up to Tampa a little bit later on tonight to see him before I fly out tomorrow. Rams are at Philadelphia. Broncos and Chargers, Saints and Seahawks. And instead of going through every single game, let's just click into the one that we care about, and that is Baltimore hosting Detroit. You see the money line spread, 4.5 right now is the spread, favoring the Ravens at home, and the over-under set at 53. And when you go over to like a prop like touchdown scorers, take your pick. Why is Travis Kelce to score his touchdown in the Detroit-Baltimore game? Oh, this must just be league-wide, I guess. I guess so. Anyway, enjoy it. There's a lot to choose from. And Jahmyr Gibbs, man, look out. If they get off to a fast start, and if Jared Goff sits in the pocket and do what he does from a play-action game standpoint, and you're not getting pressure to him because of your depth issues, it's going to be a long day for the Ravens, and they're going to have to score 30+, which I know they can do in their sleep. But why put your offense in a position where you have such a razor-thin margin for error every single week? Because, and I'm not saying the defense isn't coming off a great performance, but it's Cleveland. They're going to be selecting top 5 probably in April. This is a different potent type of offense in these Detroit Lions that can win in a variety of ways. But if you take their run game away, okay, and make them one-dimensional, that's where I feel like Jared Goff starts to look pedestrian. If that running game is knifing through, right? They're running through the tackles, in between the tackles, rather than on the outside on the Ravens, which that's the area that's going to be vulnerable right now with Nnamdi Madubuike out. Okay, no KVN on the edge. That's right there, a recipe for a shootout. I also could absolutely see the Ravens come out, punch these guys in the mouth, and it's a runaway game in primetime football at home. But I think it starts and ends right from the jump, winning the line of scrimmage, taking Jahmyr Gibbs out of the game, and forcing Jared Goff to beat you through the air. That's a recipe for success right from the jump if you're the Ravens. They're going to be without Keaton Mitchell, guys, and I know maybe some of you should look away from the screen because it pisses you off that Keaton has not been active yet this year and figures to be inactive for the 3rd consecutive week to start off his 25-26 campaign. Why, you ask? John Harbaugh just shared a short while ago. Simply put, he does not have room for a game day roster spot at this moment. Now, that means, while it's not finalized yet, and Injury reports won't come out until later this afternoon. And we're live right now at 2:30. Typically, they won't come out for another 90 minutes or so. This tells me that Rasheen Ali, being that he shed that red non-contact jersey yesterday after it popped up on Thursday, because he got ruled out of the Browns game with a concussion, that tells me that he has been cleared. He will continue to serve as RB3 and the primary kickoff return specialist. And Keaton, unfortunately, is on the outside looking in. It's a bummer. As he told us back in April on our draft coverage, 25-26 season was going to be a movie. He never felt better post ACL. Clocked over 20 miles an hour for the first time since before that injury in December of 2023. And as we all know, he brings an element of explosiveness, speed, and lightning strike that's awesome and complementary to what Derrick Henry's Thunder brings to the table. But for whatever reason, the folks within that building, John Harbaugh and his staff, feel like that they are better off with Rasheen Ali as RB3. Does this have more to do with what's in front of Rasheen in the King and Injustice on top of what Rasheen brings in the special teams department? I guess so. To me, this is ultimately a special teams decision, I would think. And because Keaton and Rasheen are built a little bit different, maybe. Look, I understand your frustration out there, and I don't really know how I can reason with this other than the fact that this is an absolute direct result of the embarrassment of riches that they have offensively. Somebody's bound to get the short end of the stick, whether it's Keaton not even being active on game day, the way that's been the case now for multiple weeks to start the year, or like a Mark Andrews whose targets and overall statistics have been down through the first couple weeks. Yet you've got so many other contributors that are key pieces of this offense. I mean, look, you can be as frustrated as you want. They've hung 40 and 41 respectively to start. At some point, you got to be like, okay, yeah, this sucks, but I'm not going to sit here and like sulk over this decision until they start struggling offensively, struggling with their ground game, and in other areas, whether it's the screen game, whether it's some of the misdirection stuff that they do. I know Zay Flowers can be used as eye candy when it comes to that type of component to Todd Monken's offense until they start struggling output-wise, whatever, right? It's kind of hard to sit here and point the finger, is it not? Of course not. You guys are out there like, fuck that. And I get it. I want to see him out there too. And I hurt for Keaton because you know how prepared and amped up and fired up he was to be back and available for this team. Hopefully he'll get his shot at some point down the line. John Harbaugh reiterated, as Karita Parks noted on X a short while ago, the same thing that he said on Monday regarding Jair Alexander and his playing status. Quote, "It's going to be sooner rather than later." So again, this is kind of what I was hinting at earlier on in the show. You can pretty much already put the inactives together ahead of Monday night. Pat Ricard, Keaton Mitchell, Kyle Van Noy, Nnamdi Madubuike, Jair Alexander. Those are your guarantees, I would think. I mean, this is pretty much saying that we're still giving Jair, ample time to get himself ramped up and good to go so that we can feel good about putting him out there for 30% of the snap share, which is what he received week 1 in Buffalo, which I think we can all agree was too much. So that's the current status as far as Jair Alexander is concerned. Listen to Derrick Henry. He met with reporters earlier this week and talked about a very slow game for him, quiet game, 23 yards on 11 carries against Cleveland. And we know what the Browns did. They sold out to ensure that Derrick didn't embarrass him. I love, though, what the King had to say as a response in terms of how he looks at that really slow, quiet game. Very uncharacteristic, especially uncharacteristic of him in a Ravens uniform over the last year and change.
What are you hoping to see differently out of the run game this week after last week?
Be better, and that never happened again. Continue to get better. Me, myself first, be better with the football and be more efficient, be more explosive, and us just getting better each and every day and letting it translate each and every week.
Do you feel when watching it, it was because it looked like the Browns, their focus was, hey, we're going to stop the run. But from your vantage point, do you feel it was more your guys than what they did, or was it more what they did that provided the final results?
How I look at it, I always look at myself first. I never look at another man and saying what they did wrong. I always point the finger at me, saying I need to be better. If they're stopping the run, there's no way to go, then make one. And I feel like I didn't do that well, and I need to do better at that. But as a whole, we just gonna focus on keep getting better, and I need to be better, and that's my focus.
Friggin' love that message from Derek. I need to be better after the guy's just, granted, yes, the fumble was pretty surprising in Buffalo, right? Fourth quarter led to really the beginning of the end. That fourth quarter collapse week 1. But love the message, love the sentiment. Quote, be better and never let that happen again. Me, myself, first, be better. Be more efficient and be more explosive. Lions defense ranks 15th against the run thus far entering week 3. So that'll be something to watch. And of course, that's not all that Derrick Henry had to say. DeAndre Hopkins continues to make the most of his opportunities. Just 4 targets, but he's caught all 4 footballs, 99 total yards, including a long of 41 as we watched unfold right out of the half in the third quarter for Lamar to him. And man, that coverage was just blanketed D-Hop, man. And yet he finds a way to separate, which is so fun to watch. The King, of course, teamed up with him for a little while as a member of the Titans organization. And he was asked about by our guy, Cordell Woodland, friend of the show, was asked about some of that noise out there.
You played with D-Hop back in Tennessee, and he's made it note to let people know, I don't know who's calling the watch, but apparently somebody is, and he's making it known that he's not. I mean, are you surprised at all that he's still making these same type of plays at this stage of his career?
No, I think he's done his whole career. Everybody knows that stigma where you get up in age, all of a sudden, something's changed. But, hopefully they keep calling him watch because it's been working, so we need it.
That shit's been working, so keep calling him washed. Why the hell wouldn't you keep calling him washed out there? Why not? DeAndre clearly feels like he still has something left to not only prove, but give to the game. And in this case, give to the Ravens as he chases that elusive Lombardi trophy. 10-plus years in this league, bona fide future Hall of Famer one day, and Canton can still hang, can still go and get those contested footballs, can still go and get, of course, those 50-50 balls, and perhaps brings an element of big body type of wide receiver, savvy veteran element, right, that they have been lacking throughout the course of the Lamar era. Troy Aikman, who's going to be calling the game for ESPN, had this to say on ESPN about that exact sentiment. And let me make sure I got the right clip here. Pulling it up, and I do.
Well, he's been a good fit, and it's really what I thought this offense needed a year ago, if not even before then, is somebody who could go down the field and make plays on these contested balls, these 50-50 balls down the field. He hasn't had that type of wide receiver really over the years, and so DeAndre Hopkins, he's already shown that. He's shown that in the first couple of weeks with some of the highlight catches that he's already made. And at 33 years old, I mean, that people say, well, is he slowing down? That was his game even when he was in his 20s. He's never been this burner. He's been a good route runner, but a guy who just is really competitive at the point of the catch. So I thought it was a great pickup, and it's been nice to see him do what he's been able to do and what he's added to that offense for Baltimore.
Really competitive at the point of the catch. I love watching that and listening to that, I should say. But here are the numbers if you haven't already seen this, and forget about the projected numbers because those aren't relevant right now. Just through 2 weeks, 4 receptions, 4 targets, 99 yards, average of 24.8 per reception, 2 touchdowns, and a long of 41, which came in the third quarter, like I just mentioned, against Cleveland. This is why you brought him in. It's not going to be high volume. And it may not even be needle moving when it's all said and done. Some of you guys are punching air over there because I keep mentioning that comment. Like Chef Trez is commenting on my vocabulary. Barring something unforeseen, yes, that's a crutch. Yes, when you talk so much like I do on a goddamn daily basis year round, you develop crutches, Chef Trez. Get your ass in here and call in, will you? Guest lines are filling up, and I don't even know where the hell extra butter is. But the whole reason why I opened up these goddamn guest lines to begin with. Where was I? DeAndre. That's exactly why they brought him in. Team-friendly, one-year deal. He's chasing a Lombardi. He wanted to suit up with Derek and Lamar, and now he's getting that chance. Isaiah likely will be back at some point. Mark Andrews at some point will get going, right? You want to feature, of course, your talented complementary duo of outside pass catchers and Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. Zay will continue to be the high-volume guy. I suspect that he'll finish, number one in receptions, targets, and overall receiving yards, maybe even touchdowns when it's all said and done. So it's going to come in. I'm sure it's going. There will be sparingly. DeAndre's overall target share and workload. Let's be honest. It's going to be limited. But if they continue to make those limited reps quality reps the way he has through 2 weeks, then I'll start to come around on that whole needle moving thing, especially if he continues to be the dominant force he can be and a security blanket alongside the other two tight ends when they're playing 12 personnel in the red zone. That's where I'll walk myself back several months from now when he ends up with 6, 7, 8 touchdowns, half of which come in the red zone for Lamar. That, to me, that ends up being like, wow, Ravens really ended up, this move really ended up serving them well when it's all said and done. Right now, through 2 weeks, great start for DeAndre. I want to see him continue to stack and sustain that health, continue to stack and sustain this type of productivity. I can't wait to continue watching it along the way. Listen to what Lions defensive coordinator, this is really good right here. I mean, this is one of the all-time quotes, I think, that will probably be in a compilation at some point. Lamar Jackson, right, just speaks to his greatness. Kelvin Shepard. Kelvin Shepard is Dan Campbell's defensive coordinator in Detroit. And he had this to say. This is certainly making its rounds in the Twitter space when it comes to his preparations in advance of seeing Lamar Jackson for the first time since we all remember what happened. And I know Detroit remembers what happened related to that October 2023 game when Baltimore just boat raced them right out of M&T Bank Stadium, 38-6. It was 28-0 at the half. Detroit could only muster up 6 points, and they all came in the fourth quarter. So anyway, listen to the DC, and then we'll all go to the guest lines in a second here.
Lamar do well everything. What does he not do well? Nothing. I mean, he could beat you all different ways. Run game, pass game. Pass game, he could do it in the pocket, out of the pocket. So, I mean, it's why he's who he is, multi-year MVP in this league, and have the utmost respect for this player. He's a dynamic player in this league, and he's hard to prepare for. I've gotten a lack of sleep this week due to him, so I make sure I let him know that after this game.
When you face somebody like that, do you almost have to he's so dynamic out of the pocket, not only running but throwing the ball too? Is it one of those situations where, if he drops back, Shep, and he throws for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, you tip your cap and you move on, but you got to find one way to stop him and not let him kind of do multiple things?
No, I wouldn't be tipping my cap 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. I don't think any of us would be tipping our cap to that stat. But, no, I know what you mean, Tim, like trying to make them one-dimensional, so to say. And it's hard to do. The fact they've added D. Henry, it only doubled down on it. Like, it's hard to make this team one-dimensional. You just got to go in with a plan that we've created as a staff that we feel gives our players an opportunity to go out and have success against this unit. I mean, they're dynamic. You got Zay Flowers, you got Likely, you got Andrews, you got Henry, you got Lamar. I mean, that's before you talk about one of the strengths of the team is the front, the bigs. I mean, this team is who they are. Every year you're talking about the Ravens in the championship contention. Every year in and year out. And over the last couple of years, you've talked about us in the same context. So this is 2 teams. We know where this game stands. Now, it's early in the year. This isn't a deciding factor of who's going to the Super Bowl or anything, but it is a litmus test for us and let us know where do you really stand against the big boys in the league.
Well said there from Lions defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard. Again, that clip is making its rounds on the social media circles because of the sentiment there related to Lamar Jackson. Quote, what does Lamar do well? Everything. What does Lamar not do well? Nothing. He's hard to prepare for. I've gotten a lack of sleep this week due to him. I'm saying the quiet part out loud, I suppose. I'm sure a lot of DCs over the years can relate. But again, that is Lions defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard on Lamar. And look, this is a team that is all too familiar with what Lamar can do. If you go back to that October 2023 game in Baltimore, that was Todd Monken's first year. Of course, that was the year that they danced on to the AFC Championship game. But in that October game, the Ravens dominated through the air. They dominated in the trenches and, of course, on the ground. They had 9.1 yards per play. They got contributions from so many. They were really good on third down, 4 for 8, 1 for 1 on fourth down. They came in and smacked Detroit in the mouth from the jump. And that's something that Dan Campbell was like, look, and everybody was asked about it. Jared Goff, Aiden Hutchinson, they're all asked about it. And I don't know how much of it impacts Monday night per se, but I do know that the Ravens have had psychological advantages before over their opponents, particularly the ones that they've beaten up pretty good in the past. And while personnel changes every year, staffs change every single year, there are still core pieces from both of these teams that were a part of the core pieces of the 2023 squads. And I think that has some level of factor. I don't know how big of a factor it is come 8:15 on Monday, but it has somewhat of a factor. And if you haven't been paying attention, guest lines are coming up here in just a second. If you haven't been paying attention to what Lamar's done in primetime, good God, 7-2 on Monday Night Football, 22-0 touchdown to interception ratio. He's 24-2 against NFC teams. The Daniel Jones led New York Giants, got it that time, shockingly, beat him a couple years ago. And, of course, Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles in a game that really Justin Tucker lost. Or if you wanted to get more nitty-gritty, the Ravens got outmanned and outperformed in the trenches in December of last year against the Eagles. Those are the only two right there on the right-hand side of that win-loss column. NFC teams have really struggled against Lamar over the years. He's on an unbelievable stretch right now. And, again, these Monday night games, there's a few that come to mind, whether it be the Jackson 5 performance, the first one that Joe Tessitore labeled back in 2019 against the Rams. Jared Goff, ironically, was quarterbacking the Rams back then. What other ones stick out? The Tampa Bay one, I think, comes to mind in Tampa a couple of years ago, or was that last year? It was like a year or two ago. 165 completions on 239 attempts. That's 69% completion on these Monday night games. Over 1,900 yards, 22 touchdowns to no picks, like I mentioned. A quarterback rating of 124.3, and he's 7-2, like I mentioned, in those primetime games. And the Ravens have been nothing short of dominant in those home primetime games. We'll see if that continues. Coming up on Monday, 8:15, Be More Around Town pregame tailgate is where I will be live streaming from. Would love to see some of you guys out there. And as you've seen in both the live chat pinned comment and also at the bottom line right now, code Bobby5, BOBBY5 will get you $5 off your entry fee if you're interested in coming out. That's BeMoreAroundTown.com. I linked to the specific site. It's right all there for you in the live chat as a pinned comment. Like the video on your way in. If you could, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Happy Saturday to all of you guys. The guest lines are open. There's a link that's floating around in the live chat. I'll pin that in just a second. Over 600 concurrents at the moment. Consider becoming a channel member, gift-giving membership. I can get to some super chats at some point if they come in, if you want to share a thought. And let's first, Chef, hit that. I'm going chronological. If you're there, Chef, turn on that camera. But in the meantime, we go to Julian. Okay, Chef, you beat him. You beat him. But it was only because it was chronological. I hate to give him this benefit of doubt here, but it's great to see you, brother. Happy Saturday.
How's it going, Bobby? It's going all right for me.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Other than your policing of my grammar, I'm doing okay.
Well, no, I mean, I just had a little bingo card, and I was just like, all right, so he said, okay, get his legs out from under him, whatever, check that off, But
I gotta get a goddamn whiteboard for this frig. I don't even know if I could do this since it's a rental, but I need a whiteboard. I'm gonna nail that shit right into this wall, and I'm gonna put up my crutch phrases. Fuck it, you'll never hear me say any of that again.
I doubt it, Bobby. Yeah, I doubt it. I mean, yeah, it's true. You should do that, and by end of the season, just tally it up, and then I don't know, donate however many times you did it, donate to charity or something.
Fair enough. Talk to me,
But
baby. What do you got for me?
so I actually want to take a look at the defense, or really the defensive line with Madubuike being out. I feel like one that's going to put a lot of pressure on Aeneas Peebles and the rest of the defensive line, Brent Urban and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because we already know, I mean, with what they call them, so Sonic and Knuckles, with Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery. I mean, it's going to be a physical game in the trenches. So I feel like we're going to be looking at Mike Green just because with Kyle Van Noy being out, we want to see what he can really do. Like, take the leash off of him, let him go, let the dogs go. But that interior line, I mean, that's what makes me not nervous about this game, but it's like something to have an eye on.
Yeah, no, I
And
think that's totally fair. Like, I don't think anybody needs to be nervous per se, but what I was kind of trying to allude to earlier, maybe this is what you're saying as well, was what's the formula that a shootout could unfold? And that
right.
is one of the factors potentially that could lead to that. Meaning, if early on they're able to run in between the tackles and you've got soft pressure on Jared Goff and allowing him to kind of be that drop back passer that he wants to be, right? The pocket, immobile, statue. Hey, and this is not anything against Jared Goff. This guy's gotten MVP votes in recent years. He's resurrected his career, not that he ever needed to, but they wrote him off, the Rams, and he's had an exceptional career with the Detroit Lions and has been as vital of a part of that turnaround as anybody, including the head coach. So this is not to demean the guy, but he's not mobile. He wants to be a play action passer, and he's got the weapons around him to be a very successful surgical play action passer at that. So all I'm saying is, and I think, let me know if you're going in this direction, like you start letting Jameer Gibbs pick up those chunk yards because you don't have your gap integrity and there's no Nnamdi Madubuike and it's kind of a committee replacement, if you will, then that's going to open up the passing game and all of a sudden you're in a shootout through a quarter or two.
Yeah, and that is where I'm going. And also, just to add on to that, I mean, seeing how the defensive line is going to play is also going to dictate how much Roquan and Teddy Buchanan, how their play is going to be affected. Because I mean, if they're going to have to be closer up on the line just to give the illusion that like we're bringing pressure, so maybe you check out or run or something like that. That's gonna be big. That's gonna be huge. I mean, Roquan may not have his Superman cape, so to speak, on the defensive side, kind of like how Kyle Hamilton, just because that big guy, number 92, isn't going to be up there causing like all the pressures. I mean, I believe he's leading the Ravens in pressures right now, defensive pressures. So, I mean, big loss. However, I'm not nervous, but I I have my eye on the defensive line.
As you should.
Yeah.
By the way, he leads the team in 2 categories, 10 pressures, 2 sacks. The rest of the defensive line combined, I don't think you want to know this number, no sacks, 7 pressures. Okay. So he himself has been essentially the pressure king through 2 weeks as Tilly decides to make her way into another goddamn live stream. She knows that a flight is imminent and she does not like to be without her father. That's what's coming up tomorrow. But
that's fair.
Yeah. But I think you get the point. Nnamdi has been, while I think, again, I don't know why he was dragged last year, because I think you needed to be mindful of the great lengths that opposing offenses were willing to take and go to take him out of the game plan, or at least not make anybody besides 92 beat you. And there was a lot of attention to detail on him last year, which is why you saw that sack number in part get cut in half. And so just because the sacks weren't there, though, again, you got to look at the pressures, you got to look at the double teams, you got to look at everything that he's going up against. And so that's why I keep saying it's not next man up, it's next men up.
Yeah, and just just to be clear, I mean, I'm not forgetting about Travis Jones, Adafe Owe. I haven't been too high on David Ojabo because it's like, I don't know. It's like when he gets there, it's like he just gets tunnel vision, and he's just like, I just want to beat my guy with one move, and it's just like, I don't know. It's like the definition of insanity. But like again, yeah, I mean, it's on that collection of guys, that whole committee and whatnot, to step up and really, you know, show that the defensive line, even though we're down one guy, it's not going to make that much of a difference, even though it is kind of our star defensive line. Yeah, but two quick things that I want to hit on. I might have to revise my prediction. I'm still predicting Ravens win, but I might have to take away 2 sacks from the defense and say they get 3.
Yeah.
So that might, I don't know. Hopefully they can prove me wrong. I still want 5, but they might come away with 3. And then also for Lamar Jackson's 2 losses against the NFC, I also just thought it was funny that Saquon Barkley has been on both of those teams.
Oh,
With
I
the
didn't even think about
Giants.
that. Right.
Yeah, with the Giants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was looking up. And I had my camera off. I believe he had 22 carries for 88 yards for the Giants. I wasn't fast enough to look up the one against the Eagles, but yeah, Saquon Barkley was on both of those teams. I mean, I'm not a skeptical person. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. So like, it doesn't mean anything to me, but I found it funny. So
I forgot about that. Yeah, that would have been 2023, right? Against the Giants, I want to say.
I think it was 2022. Or yeah, it was like 2022, 2023 season.
22. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. I mean, clearly Daniel was still the QB, so
yeah.
I do want to say that was Todd Monken's first year, but anyway, don't quote us
Nah,
on that.
That had
But,
to be Greg Roman.
Maybe. that would be a Greg Roman loss. Maybe it
was
was 22. Who the hell knows? But it's great to see you, brother. I'll catch up with you soon.
Right. Cool.
Guest lines are open, guys, as you can see, and I'm doing it in order of how you came in. Extra butter, Julian Manny is the leadoff on deck and in the hole, if you will. It's been a long time since I played baseball. But please like the video if you could on the way in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Big Saturday. Man, you make me want to do live streams moving forward. It's a big Saturday audience. Over 700 concurrents between Twitter and YouTube. So thanks, guys, for being here. Quick read here on MyBookie. College football is already cooking. We got upsets, blowouts, wild covers, and MyBookie lets you hit it all. Game lines, player props, and more. Everything you need before the pros even kick off, which they do, of course, tomorrow. Big college football atmosphere down here in Florida. My cousin, who I keep telling you about during these reads, and I probably should just read the freaking read that I'm tasked to read, but I don't, because I got a loud mouth and I ramble. Somebody commented on my story so much, or they commented on my YouTube channel recently, and they were like, way too much filler. I think his name was Richard, and I appreciate you watching, Richard. Maybe you're right, too much filler, but you got to remember, I came up in radio. Like, you basically fill for a living in radio. But anyway, my cousin Connor is a Gator, and let's just say he is ashamed to be a Florida Gator. He doesn't even want to go out and watch the game today because it's at Miami. Did you see that on ESPN Game Day earlier today at the fuck the Gators? I mean, literally tip jar or a swear jar, yes. It was piping through the ESPN airwaves earlier today. I freaking love college football. But anyway, game lines, player props, and more. Everything you need before the pros even kick off on Sunday. And so when tomorrow rolls around, you're already up. MyBookie's got it all under one roof for you. You can win big on the NFL Super Contest and Survivor pools. If you're new, use my code BobbyB. That's BOBBYB. And any bet you choose up to $500 is fully covered. You can make your play. And if it doesn't hit, you get it right back when you opt in using your Bet Back bonus token. MyBookie's where bettors win together because bragging is good, but cashing in is better. And do me and yourself and your family and your significant other and whoever a favor if you're struggling to control the whole gambling side of things and you feel like you need help. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-522-4700. Appreciate MyBookie, ProfitX, and all my other sponsors for the continued support here inside this channel. PKB, I see, is here, and he's got some time on Saturday. The only thing for him that's really a bummer is I don't have any time for him today. That's a bummer. Extra butter, come on in, brother. Good to see you, my dude. Where are you at? Come on, I know you got a lot of Keaton. Oh, there he is. He comes flying in. Uh-oh. Look, can I just say something? Oh, hold on a second. Can I say something before you get on this rant right now?
Sure thing, Bobby.
Can you just do me the favor, okay? I love your rants no more so than anything else. can you at least try to look at this objectively? Because I know what you're calling in for. Okay. And I also want to just begin this guest line as I hijack your own opportunity here. Okay. That this is a team that, yes, is 1-1. Yes, had an epic collapse through essentially a half quarter on the road in a hostile environment to the reigning MVP, who shouldn't have been the reigning MVP in Buffalo. But this is a team that's put up 40 and 41 respectively. And so just to set you up here, and you take it in any direction you want, I have a hard time helicoptering, if you will, John Harbaugh and this staff's decision that Keaton Mitchell is on the outside looking in. That's all I'm going to say. The rest is yours.
I call that cat, Bobby. That's all cat, man, because there's no way that I'm putting Hill over Keaton. I'm definitely not putting Ali over Keaton. Now I understand it's a special teams thing, but we need that speed. I think I've said this before, Bobby. Keaton is the reason that, and I know it's a couple years removed, but still, and I feel like this is a fact. Keaton is the reason we only ranked the ball in that championship game. Where was this quote unquote established justice Hill in that game? Just saying. Keaton is faster. Keaton is more agile. And the only thing I really feel as though that he's missing is pass protection. Justice does have that over him. But I don't even see Justice as a downhill running back. I feel like he's a catching, pass protection running back. Now, of course, we have our bell cow and Derrick Henry, but I feel as though Keaton is that lightning. And the simple fact that y'all keep making him a healthy scratch, I'm not getting it. I'm just, and I can't get behind it. You already know I want Harbaugh gone. Like it's. I feel like Keaton is going to be a missing piece as far as this upcoming game. I have no idea why Jair is a healthy scratch yet again, considering that we don't have Nambi on the defensive line. We're going to need everybody on deck. You just said it's not the next man up, it's the next men up. I feel like Mike Green is going to have a game. I feel like, what's his name? Anita's Peoples is going to have a breakout game. Travis Jones is going to have a breakout game. I really think Jair should be active and Keaton should be active.
Hey, can you at least give me this though? Hold on a second. Let me two things, EB. I love it. Are you working right now?
Yeah.
That man's working.
I'm on the job right now.
That man's working. I wouldn't expect anything less. Two things. One, can you really tell me that you want Jair Alexander out there after what he put on tape on Sunday night against Buffalo?
Yes, because I feel like he has enough ramp ups. He's healthy. I'm not sure what's going on in practice. I'm not sure if he's been flashing again in practice, but I feel as though he's ready. I feel as though he wasn't ready week one because it's not the simple fact he was 2-3 weeks removed from practice. Like he hadn't practiced since August 14th, the 9th. So Jair going out in week one, already in my head, I felt as though that was a bad idea because he didn't get enough practices in. But considering that he sat in week two and it's been practices since then, I feel as though he's ready. And this is a big time game because we can't lose this game going 1-2 going into Arrowhead, Bobby. That's not good. That's not good.
It's a non-negotiable. Correct. I'm with you there. It's a murderer's row beginning of the season. It doesn't get any easier after that with teams like Texans and the Rams looming as well. EB, yeah. I'm going to keep these guest lines moving. You get back to work. I appreciate you as always. I hope to do it again.
Definitely.
All right, brother. Later, man. Hey, welcome to Lions Talk by Chat Sports, by the way. Looks like the Detroit side of things picked up from an algorithm perspective. So welcome to the opponent, if you will, this upcoming week. There's been a lot said by the Lions, of course, none of which was like Cleveland last week, right? That's what pretenders do. The Lions are contenders, okay? They've had some heartbreak in January, much like the Ravens have had in recent years, and they've underperformed. Let's be clear on that in the month of January during postseason play. But ultimately, they're contenders. And that's why it's been business as usual when it comes to the media. Okay. Jared Goff, for example, talking about October of 2023, the elephant in the room. Last time these two teams played, it was one-sided and one-sided really only.
Remember about the 2023 game?
Yeah, they kicked our butt. They got after us early and often, and yeah, we certainly remember that.
What can you draw from that 2023 game? Is there anything like you go back and watch that tape at all? Is there any value in that from a preparing standpoint?
Yeah, maybe some motivation value that, you know, we just kind of went in there and they took it to us. You know, I think we've got a lot of respect for their team and their coaches and the way they've gone about their business for a long time. And I'd like to feel they feel the same way about us. But we got to go in there and prove it and show them that, you know, we obviously can hang with them and we're a great team. And in that instance, we didn't. So certainly have a little bit to prove this week.
A lot's changed in 2 years. How much do you feel like you guys have changed since that Baltimore game last?
Yeah, we've grown up a little bit. Absolutely, we've matured. We've gotten, you know, another 36, 40 games or so under our belt since then, and they're a different team. We're a different team. I don't know if that game speaks much to this game, other than you know, maybe provides a little bit of extra juice for us. But yeah, I don't think there's much other than that to carry over.
Obviously, you always want to start games hot, but given what happened in that game, is there more urgency to make sure that you don't fall behind quick?
That game was 2 years ago, and that's question number 5. Yes, but yeah, you know, you're right. And I've played these guys a couple times now, a few times, and I played them in LA, and I think it was a very similar type of game where they were up on us early, and they can do that. With Lamar and the offense they can start out fast and get hot. So our defense, you know, we're relying on them to play well, and then we got to play well on our part too offensively.
Jared Goff was counting. Who was counting? Jared was. 5 different questions being peppered at him right there related to that October 2023 beatdown. Look, here's where the Lions, and I'd be curious, very curious actually to hear the Detroit perspective, right? Lions talk by Chat Sports right now, contributing to our live chat dialogue. This is what I'm curious about. Okay, first of all, Jahmyr Gibbs killed the Bears, and I get it. It's a different defense in Chicago. They're in the middle of a rebuild right now with Ben Johnson and company. And this is not a statistically dominant defense, at least not through 2 weeks. They just let up 52 goddamn points to Detroit. But the Jahmyr Gibbs outside zone calls, right? Outside zone runs, from what I've seen, absolutely killed Chicago. Early on, knowing that now the Ravens are vulnerable in the interior with no Nnamdi Madubuike and some inexperience that are going to have to, again, it's a by committee replacement of Nnamdi. It ain't next man up, it's next men up. If they can run successfully between the tackles and Jahmyr starts to show what he did in week 2 with the outside zone run productivity, then all of a sudden, that's going to open up the pass game. And Jared Goff, much like Josh Allen had the luxury of in the fourth quarter, if the Ravens don't have a complementary approach to pressuring the quarterback, is going to have all kinds of time. He can kill you when it comes to the play action game. And when the play action game is supported by the run game with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, that's the formula right there early on in this opening quarter, opening half of this thing becoming a shootout. That's something I'm going to be watching for. Can Detroit run between the tackles early on and have success doing so, which will ultimately open up Jared Goff to do what he does best? Very curious. Look, there might be a talent gap, right? All my people in here right now, when it comes to your diehard Ravens fans, I get it. There's a talent gap here from a roster construction standpoint. That's nothing against whatsoever Detroit. There's a talent gap, but at the same time, the Ravens are down significant amounts of talent, led by Nnamdi Madubuike, Pat Ricard, no KVN, who's brought it. I thought he played a great half against Cleveland. Yeah, I know that they had a couple injuries up and down their offensive line, but I thought KVN played well before he went down with that hamstring. So just a few thoughts for me in terms of how the Lions can make this thing a game early on. And Dan Campbell, you see it. You don't forget those. That's the quote dating back to 2023. Quote, I want to go in this place and know that we can continue to get better. We can't give anything away on defense. We've got to be very disciplined. To Julian we go. Guest lines continue. What's up, brother? Happy Saturday to you, my guy.
What's going on, Bobby? I got back in from doing some errands earlier. But I had to hop on. I just saw you that you was on. Want to say real quickly that the Terps are looking good right now because I'm watching all college football games in the multi view, so they're looking good as far as what they're concerned. But to this game, yeah, Madubuike's injury is really concerning because it's a neck injury. Those are really tricky. I was looking on Cole Jackson's Twitter feed. He said, I forgot what he said. He tweeted out something regarding that injury. He said they're really tricky. We could possibly not see him maybe until next year if it's that serious. But I don't even know
Madubuike?
how he even got hurt. Like in
Madubuike?
that, yeah, I think that's what he said. He said knowing how Harbaugh likes to do with these you know, injury updates or whatever, we might not even see him until next year. But I'm not going to go that far. But
Yeah, because we just don't know. I mean, and Jeff noted this from Harbaugh's press conference earlier this afternoon that they're still running tests. He was non-committal in terms of whether or not he was a injured reserve candidate, so on and so forth. So certainly, just to be clear, like there's no suggestion of that yet.
Yeah.
But to your point, when it's a neck, when it's Madubuike, who's been extremely durable, he has not missed time. He had started 55 straight games he had played in leading into this. He hadn't missed since like COVID protocols from 2020, 21. So I get it. The severity of this or the potential severity is something that needs to be, discussed and highlighted. We just don't obviously know quite yet. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So like you said, Nias Peebles, he's going to step up. The rest of the guys, Travis Jones, Brent Irvin, obviously he knows his role. He's been here. He knows the defense very well. So I'm definitely, like everybody else, is going to be keen on how they stop this Lions run attack. Because in the last game, David Montgomery didn't play. And it was just, Jahmyr Gibbs. He's playing in this game. So, and he's a tough running back to get down. So you got to deal with him, and then you got to deal with Jahmyr Gibbs' speed. So stopping that running game is going to be key. And then, obviously you have to deal with Jared Goff getting after him. That's going to be another key. And they're going to have to get some more sacks because, they gotten pressure, but they haven't gotten, as much pressure as I would like to see. So the pass rush is going to be a bit of one of the things I want to be watching for. And then obviously the secondary. How long is Jerry Jair going to play? Is he going to be on a snap count, which I think he's probably going to be? How long is he going to Jair Alexander? Is he going to play or not?
No. I don't. My understanding of today's press conference is that he won't play.
Okay. Well,
now is that confirmed? No, but Harbaugh, without saying it, said that look, he's just not there yet. Like he continues to say it's going to be sooner rather than later. But to me, that's English for I don't think that after what he put on tape, 30% of the
that first game, it was concerning. You want him to be at his best. He's very, very important. So look, it's better that it's early than late. It's better than it's early than it's late, and you have to deal with that late during a playoff push, and you need all your guys there. So as long as he is there when we need him to be during the cold weather games and all that stuff, then that this won't even matter. As long as we stack our wins, that's the most important thing.
Thanks for the call, brother. Hope you're having a great weekend.
All right, Bobby.
Talk to you. And Manny, just because I want to be a good segue here from the Detroit perspective, Mike just popped in. I'm going to bring Mike in here for a minute just to kind of keep this conversation moving on the Detroit side of things and how they can make this a shootout. And we'll bring you on in just a bit. I know. You want your love. But Mike, hey, what's up, dude? Good to see you, man.
Hey, very much. Thank you for having me on here. I appreciate it. It just came up on the algorithm, and I wanted to see a perspective from the Baltimore Ravens. Look very professional, and so I thought I'd listen in, and loving what I'm seeing so far.
Yeah, glad you did. Just saw you. For those who haven't caught the live chat or whatever, aren't scrolling along the way. Mike, Lions Talk by Chat Sports, I believe, is your YouTube channel. So it's actually good timing here for a minute or two, just related to what I was talking about a couple minutes ago, coming off the Chicago game. And I granted, it's a different opponent, different defense and all that. But Jahmyr Gibbs, those outside zone run calls had their way. That now we know there is going to be a soft spot, if you will, in the interior part of this defensive line with no Nnamdi Madubuike. So I guess I wonder from a Detroit perspective, now that you know that, is that a reasonable formula for how this thing could be a shootout early? Because we know if you start to lean on the comfort of your run game, if you're Jared Goff, that's golden to him. It's like kid in a candy store. He can sit in the pocket. He's surgical. He's got all the playmaking ability around him in the world at his disposal. That to me feels like a reasonable formula for what could develop into a shootout.
Yeah, for sure. Look, that's a huge deal. I remember I literally was just going over your guys' roster and doing a video on that. And I said one of the big issues is for their interior defensive line and him not able to play. The Lions are going to attack that, especially with David Montgomery. That is exactly where he goes. They pound it right there. So Lions will use Jahmyr Gibbs in the middle, but it's predominantly, I would say, Montgomery. And they do use Montgomery half the time. It's going to be a 50-50 split. How they do it is one series with Jahmyr, one series with Montgomery. So that's exactly where they're going to attack. And our new OC is more about the pound on the 3rd and 1s than we used to have with Ben Johnson, who would do, he'd do the special plays or a play action deep pass on a 3rd and 1. Not this case. We're going to be a 3rd and 1 and they're going to pound the rock. So this team is pretty much straightforward in regard to what you've seen from years past. We're a physical team with play action. And I think from a Lions perspective, we're going against a great opponent in you guys, and we have lost the last 20 years. And our biggest issue is the inability to stop or contain the mobile quarterback. And so far, from a Lions perspective, we've done good in the first 2 weeks with Jordan Love and obviously with Caleb Williams, but now you're going against the greatest of all in Lamar Jackson. So if we can contain him in this game, even if we lose, that is going to be a huge takeaway in a positive direction for this team, because we're kind of like you guys. We're looking for the Super Bowl, the postseason. We can win a lot in the regular season. It doesn't really matter, right? We're looking towards the postseason as well. And you're going to be facing mobile quarterbacks. And if we do face Lamar Jackson again, it would be at the Super Bowl. So that is exactly what we're looking for here from a Lions perspective.
Yeah, that's very similar. The underperformance in the month of January, we know it all too well. This live chat knows it all too well. How did Green Bay do what it did to limit the Lions' rushing attack in week 1?
They put up so many different formations that we're not used to, and our offensive line is very young, and we are in a very noisy crowd. So we have a rookie in Tate Ratledge, our right guard, as well as a second-year guard, Christian Mahogany, on the left side, and our center is new as well. So our communication was very, very poor. They couldn't hear each other. They're still a little bit off in regards to that. The continuity was off. And so that's where we've seen a lot of problems for Jared Goff. They're getting pressure on him, and our offense is predicated on running the football and play action, and we just couldn't do that. So that's how they beat us, is just completely take that away. Now, we turned around and did what we did to Chicago. Like, we can do that on offense, but that's what the Packers did to us. A combination of bad communication, loud noise, and mixing up blitzes that we haven't seen.
Oh boy, Mike, because a lot of what you just, and I get it, they're going to be undermanned, this Ravens defense. I don't expect Jair Alexander to be out there, and to be quite honest with you, which is why I pushed back at EB, one of our callers earlier on, related to like Jair definitely needing to be out there. No, not after what he put on tape week 1. He played 30% of the snaps and just did not look like himself, nor should he be. He just had his knee drained at the beginning of training camp, and he's like just over 6 months removed from a PCL tear. So, and the procedure that followed it. But everything you just talked about is what Zach Orr and this Ravens defense want to do. They want to confuse you with exotic looks and exotic blitzes with DBs and use Kyle Hamilton in the unicorn-like way that they have since they drafted him in 2022. So I just wonder something's got to give here.
Yeah.
And I wonder with no Nnamdi Madubuike, and they have been susceptible to the big play. Go take a look at the fourth quarter against Buffalo. I know this Bills offensive attack is dominant, and Detroit can absolutely do the same thing. So I'm going to be really, really interested to see what kind of, and remember, one of the big knocks in terms of critique in that fourth quarter collapse was the vanilla base kind of defensive approach that was so conservative that allowed the Bills, right? There wasn't enough adjustment in game in that fourth quarter that allowed the Bills, really primarily because of a lack of pressure up front. And you're leading pressure through 2 weeks, who has more than the entire defensive line combined, is no longer there. So this is shaping up to be really, really interesting. It wouldn't surprise me if the Ravens smack them in the mouth, but it also at the same time would not surprise me if we're finally looking at what I think a lot of people predicted 2 years ago in a classic shootout for the ages.
Oh, I know. It could go any way, and exactly the way that you said it. We're looking back, because remember last time we faced you guys, we got destroyed and dominated. Again, we've lost 20 years straight. For whatever reason, we always go to Baltimore and lose. And your exotic blitzes is what we're all a little bit worried about. Again, we have a young interior offensive line, and what the Packers did was brilliant. And I know that Harbaugh and the way that you guys operate can do that. But I could see it both ways. I could see us getting smashed. I really could. Jared Goff getting hit left and right. We look like the Packers. And then I could see it again where we look like we're the juggernaut offense in the NFL. It depends with Jared Goff, too. He gets on a groove. He's like a groove quarterback. So if we see early on that the Lions are moving the football, that's a great sign. But if you're stuffing us early, oh, crap, man. It's going to be a long day for us.
Well, we've already shared what Dan Campbell's comments have been looking back. We've, of course, shared Jared Goff. Here is Sam Laporte. I think he summed it up concisely and also probably best. Listen to this.
On 2023 loss with the Ravens. Yes, I felt like we were outperformed. We were out-physicaled. We definitely didn't play complimentary football. We had 2 3-and-outs to start the game on offense. So we touched the ball 6 times, and we looked up and we were down 21-0. So definitely not complimentary football at the end of the day.
A blunt assessment, and maybe deservedly so after that one. Mike, before we let you go, I just want to quickly get an idea from you on, let me pull it up here, and this was yesterday. So I know that Marcus Davenport has now been ruled out. I think that's what Dan Campbell said earlier today. He's your edge rusher there. So how significant is this list? What is most significant, and what stands out the most that Ravens fans should be watching leading into Monday night?
Marcus Davenport, he is our starting edge, and he actually performed really well in training camp as well as in the first couple weeks here. So that's going to be hurt on the pass rush. With that said, Al-Qadim Mohammed, our backup's actually really good. He's top 10 in pass rush pressures right now in the NFL, shockingly. So I think that the Lions can cover there. Jack Campbell will be out there. He's fine. This is what he's done all week. He did it last week as well. Kirby Joseph, DJ Reed, they should all be good to go in the game. So Taylor Decker, he didn't practice all week. He had shoulder surgery about 2 months ago. He played on Sunday. He'll play again on Monday night as well.
All right, there you have it. Maybe we'll have a chance to do this again come February, Mike, but this was spontaneous. I appreciate you popping on. I hope you have a great weekend.
Hey, appreciate it. You can check me out on Lions Talk by Chat Sports or at ESPN Radio. So take it easy, guys.
Perfect, dude. Thanks, Mike. Yep. Appreciate that. I love that. I love the algorithm, man, doing its job. Thanks to Mike from a Detroit Lions perspective for, again, spontaneously hopping on the program on a Saturday. Guys, if you haven't already done so, would love for you to join the Bobby Baltimore Discord server. It's a 24/7 hub for conversations surrounding Baltimore sports, and it is free to join. Over 900 members and counting. And there's a lot of chatter going on in here, including the Bobby After Dark channel. What a shock. Everybody wanted to know what the hell happened with Alyssa. And is there 2 Alyssas in play right now? Holly wanted to talk about that, and I purposely didn't respond. No, I'm just kidding. We talk Ravens chatter here. Maryland football looking pretty good right now. That channel is alive and well. They're up big. Looks like, I'm not watching it, but looks like they're up big on Wisconsin. So literally a little bit of everything when you do join, which is free, by the way, by clicking on the link that I'm about to drop into live chat right now. You get a shout out like Sweet Spot, JWay94, so on and so forth when you do join. And there's a community of, again, coming up on 1,000 like-minded Baltimore sports fans. Would love for you guys to join. Just drop the link into the live chat. One more call before we jump on this Saturday. He's been holding and waiting and grinding and pause. He's been doing a lot over there and down there, I should say, in Mexico City. And I guess I owe it to him to give him a little bit of airtime after he was a contributing factor, or the contributing factor, and bringing in Mina Kimes, who Sarah and I had the privilege of bringing on the vault yesterday. Would love for you guys to go check that out. It's a good little I don't know, teaser, I guess, or appetizer for Monday night. And 55 days straight. This guy right here from Mexico City tweeted at Mina Kimes saying, day 1 of asking, day 2, and it hell of a consistency from you. I know, I recognize that, or I understand that Kay Adams is up next. So please give us an update on that. And yes, I have taken my victory, or I have taken my loss lap, multiple of them at that. I gave you your love yesterday, so I'm not going to do that again, especially not to your face. But thanks, brother, for all the support that you bring to the channel. That was fun yesterday. Oh, no, you're muted. Oh, no, this is your time, big dog. Come on,
There we
man.
go.
Hey, there we
There
go.
we go.
All right.
There we go.
Take your lap, my man. Take your lap.
Hey, I did what I had to do. It worked. It worked. Like she said it. Somebody's keep tweeting at me like, come over here, come over here. Hey, it worked. And now, today, day 1 of asking Kay Adams to join the show.
Well,
So-
let me quickly, just in case those that are watching live right now were not aware of what took place, let me quickly do a screen share. Let's get you really the love that you deserve. It's a great way to tease the show as well. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear this audio.
So without further
Manny, can
ado,
you
let's
hear
bring
that?
her in. Mina, why don't you give me a thumbs up when you're ready to roll, and we'll bring you up on stage.
Muted. Now you can hear
ESPN's
it, right?
Mina Kimes.
Joins us live right now inside the vault. First of all, apologies for the
Manny, you can hear it,
misunderstanding
yeah.
there on the link. Let me go all the way to
obviously
you're
And this was a team effort, Bobby. It was important that you reached out to Lily also and Manny. It was a team effort.
Weeks in the season. I feel like it's still in line with how I feel.
We're looking forward to Monday night's pregame show.
Name. I was like, oh yeah, I know that show because people are always in my mentions saying, go in the vault, go in the vault, go in the vault. So let's do this again in a couple of weeks or something. I would love to come back on and spend more time with you guys.
That'd be
That
awesome.
would be fantastic. And by the way, we have a guy that did 55 straight days of mention. His name is Manny. So we just wanted to shout
Is that
him
who
out.
it is? Maybe that's the one who I see all the time.
Talent, I guess, at this point.
It's
So,
multiple people,
there
honestly,
you have
that
it.
I've seen. But
Well
it's
done, brother.
It's
Well done. Appreciate you. Salute.
Yeah. Hey, if no Nambi, it's gonna be a shootout.
You think so? That's where you're heading in that direction.
I
huh?
think it because, hey, one, we haven't seen enough of Anise Peebles. Even though we see Travis Jones alongside Nambi, but we also, people keep forgetting we still have Broderick Washington.
Sure.
So-
I haven't mentioned his name once, which is kind of sad, but hopefully he reminds everybody that he's a part of this team.
Yeah, I don't know if because of him they're not going to bring up Brett Urban. Maybe they seem like CMP as the fullback.
Zaire Mitchell-Payton. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
CMP. I mean, I saw. Anyways.
Yeah, I got you. But by the way, just so everybody's clear, PKB, I was having fun with him. It was a good time that he always obviously comes at my throat and whoa, hey, but he comes at my neck, right, all the time, and I have fun with him back and forth. But when he started going down the whole Charlie Kirk thing, banned his ass. Like there's a line that you don't cross, and like you can even have fun with me the way that he does. Today he crossed the line, and I banned his ass. So I just want to be clear on that. He's gone, and you can come find me.
Hey,
at the
that's
bank
little
Monday
boy
night.
energy. That's little boy.
You can come find me at the bank on Monday night. We'll see if that little boy can come find me. But closing thought from you, brothers. So you're convinced that there's a shootout potentially in play here.
Yes, I think there's a shootout. I'm not just worried about our defensive line. The worry of all the Ravens right now is the O-line. It's like, can we protect Lamar from sacks? Can we protect him from Aiden and his buddies? That's the game. That's the game deciding factor. It's not so much on defense. It's more so if the offensive line can just hold, so we can just throw the 40 burger,
right.
compete against them, because we know that Detroit can actually do that. I mean, to bad teams, we haven't seen it yet on good teams that they can throw a 40 burger. But still, it's a concern. And I know you said that score predictions are going to be on Monday. So I'm just going to have one for that day because of more so the possibility of it. So I'm going to save it for it.
Okay. Good to know. Hey, thank you. Have a great rest of your weekend. And I'm sure the next time we will chat, I will be in Baltimore. We'll open up the guest lines. We'll have a good time. And be on the lookout for pregame coverage coming up 5 o'clock Monday night, I think. All right.
And I'll just continue to talk to KN and say, day 55, day 60, come to the vault.
Do what you do, baby. I trust you more than ever. Thanks, my man. Enjoy your weekend. Manny down in Mexico City, kind enough to be patient and obviously committed enough to the channel, and in this case, the vault, to tweet 55 straight days at the great Mina Kimes, which was a contributing factor in bringing her on yesterday inside the vault, which was fantastic. Guys, I'll close with this. Be More Around Town is one of the show's sponsors. You guys know that the last couple of years I have done pregame shows from their home tailgates outside the bank, and that is the case this weekend and technically Monday night. So Jimmy Smith will be their Ravens Legend of the Game, and when you click on the link that's included in the show notes, it'll bring you to Be More Around Town, and specifically the Ravens Lions Monday Night Football pregame tailgate that I will be at. If you use code Bobby5, BOBBY5, okay, that'll get you $5 off your entry fee into this pregame show. Jimmy will be there. There will be so many others. Drink acts. I mean, look at this. Premium open bar and food. Go Gadget's going to be performing. DJ Crone's going to be on the tunes. It's going to be awesome. So, again, this is where you can find it. I think they actually just tricked out their website. Damn, Brian must have put a lot of money into this because it looks damn good. So, yeah, they're going to Kansas City on the road, too. Great opportunity to work with them. And I look forward to doing exactly that coming up on Monday night. Wheels up tomorrow to Baltimore. Look forward to being back. And thanks for hanging out, guys. Thanks to ProfitX. Thanks to MyBookie. Thanks to Preston Automotive Group for continuing to provide the wheels, how I get around here in St. Pete with my Bobby Baltimore Bronco. Not as many honks these days because I don't think people recognize it down here. I do miss you guys. I look forward to getting back coming up tomorrow. I'll catch up with you guys soon. Love you all.